Hello, welcome to the Carousel of Conversations. You're in for a real treat. Join us as we take a spin through the past, present, and future of all things Disney. Here, where there's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, just a podcast away. Let the podcast begin.
You know, we never acknowledge that there's music playing in the background because when we record this, there's no music playing in the background. It's always like the do 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 do, but we just never acknowledge that. Noah's just as shocked as all of our viewers that we because he's never actually watched us.
I've never listened to a single one of our podcasts.
Okay, but I kind of understand it and justify it even a little because I watch it when I edit it and I can't even stand the sound of my own voice. So I appreciate everybody who listens because I don't know how you listen to my voice every single week.
Listen, I'm like, who's this stupid guy making dumb jokes all the time? Hello, humans. No, we should do that because then all of our viewers would be like,
yeah, everybody can do that.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That would be fun.
Hello, listeners.
We're gonna have to change our name again. Well, welcome back to another episode. For those of you who don't know, this is Noah's dad, Brian. We call him affectionately Uncle Brian or just Brian, you know, one of the two, or Dad in Noah's case. But
one of your listeners refers to me as Paw Brian, and I didn't care for that.
you know who you are.
That's funny.
Artie, do you know who it is? You don't have to say it.
I think it's my wife, right?
Nope.
No, but you're close.
You're close.
Who then?
Exactly.
Okay. Noah probably doesn't know either. He's just
Everybody
playing
knows
along.
Jared except for you.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
This monster's idea. We could be the monsters talk floor. Isn't that good?
No, we've already changed our name once. I am not rebranding again.
I'm sure I have more bangers in me. Okay.
Anyway, today we are going to be talking about a very special topic to all of us is the experience we got to have with the Keys to the Kingdom tour. But before we get into that topic, I just wanted to make a quick reminder that the 21st of February, we are going to be doing our family Disney game night where we're going to be doing Quiplash. If everything works well, we'll be doing Quiplash on live stream.
Do you have
So
to be
look,
family to join in. You
no.
said it was a family game night.
Oh.
You know, you don't have to be family.
I mean, I kicked out.
What happened?
What?
Oh, are you messing with something in the background?
No, I was looking because I have a D23 homepage in my tabs, and I didn't know what that was for. So I was looking. I can't remember why.
Squirrel.
Yeah. That's a hack.
That's my.
Hello, Noah. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our podcast episode for this week. First, let's talk about why we did Keys to the Kingdom, and like what the tour kind of promised ahead of time. So Brian, first let's start with you. This is your second time doing this tour, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I took Noah's older brother several years ago. This was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Probably, yeah.
But there's an age requirement. You have to be 18, I think, or older to
16.
Is it 16? To go on the tour. And at the time Noah wasn't old enough, so now that he's legally older than that, mentally I don't know about, but
That last one will take a while.
yeah,
if ever.
so I wanted to take him, and so and once we kind of started talking about it, then it kind of snowballed and became a group thing.
Yeah, so it was
a lot of fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, so for context, it was me, Brian, Noah, and then Noah's uncle Chris. So yeah, we don't call him that in public. Noah. We've talked about this.
No.
Please don't yell "peeper" through the Disney parks. Even though your mom still did it this trip too.
Yeah.
This is classic.
Justin's not here, and we're even singing. Look at that.
I think it's been a few episodes since she sang.
It has been. I missed it.
Yeah. All right. So Noah and I, it was our first time going. So you had sort of a foreknowledge of it because I'm sure your dad explained it to you. The
Yeah,
only thing I really knew about this tour going into it was that we were going to go through the utilidors, and
that's
that was
basically all
about
I
it.
knew.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I had thought you might know a little bit more than that
No,
even.
by the
So,
time we went again, he kind of forgot most of it. And
oh,
then
really?
Spencer, I never asked him about.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Not
Since
me
no,
this time.
Noah's not
Not
coming,
me this
but
time.
when Spencer and I did it the first time, by sheer coincidence, our tour guide was in my high school graduating class, and we didn't even recognize each other. And just through
Yeah.
happenstance, we started talking and found out that we were from the same hometown. And the next thing you know, we find out that we graduated high school together. So it was crazy.
That is crazy. And the only reason I know that story is because I actually got to meet her as well. So
Yeah,
one day she had lunch with us at
she might
Epcot
be
or
listening in.
dinner.
She knows about the podcast, so
Okay.
Aware of
saw it.
us.
Yeah, so we had dinner
Yes,
one time at Via Napoli. So, yeah, if you're watching, hi.
It's strange to
Uh,
know people that listen to you without you knowing they're listening to you.
Yeah.
It's a strange experience.
Even stranger when you think that there's a lot of people listening to you and actually no one's listening to you.
That's very true.
Which happens to
You
Noah.
know, surprisingly, between the YouTube and the podcast, we get about 40 to 50 listens a week between the two.
And I only know 20 people, so like 20 of those people, I have no idea who you are.
And Noah only gets like 60 listens throughout the entire week, and that includes.
I say a lot, but less is heard.
Okay, so I knew it was a behind the scenes tour, but I didn't really know what to expect about the Keys to the Kingdom tour. And so going in, I was kind of a little bit blind. Like I didn't even know that lunch. I knew like a couple days before that lunch was going to be included, and that's about the extent of my knowledge. So when we
It
get
is a
there,
5-hour tour.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
the fact that they provide lunch is a good.
It was like,
yeah, it would have been too long had they not.
Yeah. But it is a
So
long tour.
and you're standing for 90% of it.
Yes.
yeah. So, Brian, you helped do the booking part of it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the booking portion of it. So, did they tell you ahead of time the cost and the length of the tour?
Yes. So,
and all that?
it is a standard price as of the time of this recording, as they say. I believe the cost it ranges from $169 to $189 per person,
Okay.
plus tax. You can get discounts, I believe, if you are a DVC member or if you're an AP holder.
Yes.
So there is a discount. I can't remember what it is, but it's a significant amount. But booking it is super simple. You can go onto the website, WaltDisneyWorld.com. You can go through your My Disney Experience app, I believe, and pull it up as well. Book it straight through there. It links straight to your MDE account, and so you know you've got it. And then when you check in, you just you give them all the names. One thing about it, when you do check in, you do have to have a photo ID. So if anyone out there is doing it, I forgot to remind Noah of that, and fortunately he did bring
I remembered to bring my
ID.
wallet, which is
He
surprising.
was a good adult that day. Yay!
And I brought it. I'm like, oh, it's a good thing I remember my wallet.
They do check the list to make sure that everybody that says who they are is actually good.
Because I presented my ID and she's like, oh, it's good. That's a good thing. You were the one I was worrying about. So I was like, well, thanks.
Now, did they tell you ahead of time kind of the rules of the tour as well, or did they email you at all?
Yeah,
okay,
it's listed out on the webpage. It tells you, all the different rules. The biggest of which obvious is no pictures or video when you are backstage. It says on the website anytime on the tour, but probably a quarter of the tour you're actually on stage. You're in the public area, so it's okay then to do video and photo, obviously. But
no audio, she said. She was
once you step
about the audio
past that sign that says cast members only, that is everything goes off. That's the big rule. Everything else is kind of standard stuff.
Okay.
Oh, the other thing too is you have to have valid theme park admission for
Yeah.
that day.
Mhm.
Yes.
In addition to the tour. So
Right. So it's like the 170 plus the park tickets as
Mhm.
well.
Correct.
Plus you need to
Correct.
bring your photo ID. All
Right.
right, Noah, let's talk about it from an allergy perspective because lunch was included.
Mhm.
So when we went to go do the check-in portion of it, you had to give them your special allergy requirement. So how does that system work for the check-in process?
It was pretty incredible because I like food, so it was fairly nice whenever they like you log in at 8:30 and then they hand you a menu for lunch. I'm like, I'm in heaven. Like we're already thinking about lunch and it's only 8:30. This is incredible. But since I have allergies, I just basically told them I was like, "Can I get this but gluten free?" And they're like, "Absolutely." And do you want a
Yeah.
drink with that? I said, "A Diet Coke, please."
Yeah.
And then they did it.
And currently, when we did it, the restaurant they use is Columbia Harbor House. When Spencer and I did it before, it was actually Pecos Bills. So they do change the tour from time to time. So it's something you may want to research online.
I wonder
and
if it's
see.
like the time of day you book it.
No, I think it's as they change the tour around. You end up coming out a different place. Because the route that Spencer and I took was slightly different than the route that the four of us took.
Mm.
So,
But
I guess
I would even say, yeah, I would even say too that like the rest of the tour groups that were doing it later and earlier in the day, they were coming and going from
Yeah.
the
They were
Columbia
informed,
Harbor
yeah.
House. So
And of course Noah eats there all the time, every time
I
we
love
go.
it.
So he already knew, Columbia
yeah,
Harbor. Okay, I know I can have
chicken
this.
tender.
So
They
yeah.
gave me the adult meal too. I
Yeah.
got the most amount of fries and
Look at
4
you.
chicken tenders. I ate all of it.
Well, that was the cool part too, which we'll talk about lunch in just a little bit, but
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to bring that up as part
Yeah.
of the check-in process. You pick your meal and you tell them what you want, and then they also, which again, I came into this blind intentionally. Like I didn't want to look up anything. I wanted to just enjoy the moment. And so, but now we're going to give you all the spoilers and tell you everything. So, yeah, I'm just kidding.
Watch out.
Yeah.
But
If you want to stop listening.
yeah, this is your spoiler warning from here on. No, but so yeah, that was cool part of the check-in process, and then they also gave us a water bottle at the beginning part of the day too, so that we could carry that with us until we
It
got
is
to
a
lunch.
lot of walking. So
Yes, it is. So
having
be
water was
prepared for that. Like I think that was one of my heaviest walking days in
Yeah.
except for Epcot, as far as the Disney stuff goes. And it
is
was
5 hours of walking.
And when we went, the time of year we went, it was cool. It was actually a little
nice,
chilly
yeah.
that morning. So I can't imagine doing this, 5 hours walking in August.
No.
No.
You would
do
need
it.
multiple bottles of water on a day like that.
Yeah. So we had a big group, and after we checked in, kind of everybody got their stuff. They ordered their lunch, everything like that. Then our tour guide finally called us outside. And during the check-in process, they gave us this little pouch and they told us, hey, don't open this. Your tour guide will tell you what to do. So we get out into the landing. Now, this is, I can't remember the name of the building. I know what you do there. Like you meet Mickey.
theater?
Yeah.
The theater.
Main Street
theater,
Cinema,
Main Street Cinema.
or yeah. Not the
Yeah,
cin-
okay.
the cinemas where they
Oh, yeah, that's
further
where
up Main
the
Street.
that's the shop.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's where you meet Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Yes, it's right towards the front of the entrance.
Yeah,
So
on the
they
right.
take you out into that little
Porch.
like porch area, and that's where the tour guide tells you how to put on your headset, what volume she recommends you set it on, all of those things. And look, it looks kind of cool or funky or whatever, but it was kind of like I had to figure out how to put that thing on my ear. Like I was like, does it go this way or this way? And she's explaining it to us.
No, it
Yeah.
was wrapped around your ear.
Which I'm appreciative of because I don't want somebody else's earwax going in my ear.
It didn't
So
really
like
go
the
in
way
your ear. It was like a speaker that sat
no,
right in front of your ear. It was really nice, actually.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
So she explains all that to you. Then you put on your headset. Then we really got started with the tour at that point. She explained to us the rules, everything like that. And then a comment that you made at the beginning, Brian, was on stage. Can you explain what on stage is?
Okay, so this started all the way back with Walt, because everything came out of entertainment and the movie industry. So performers, they have on stage and they have off stage or backstage. So when you're on stage, you are performing, you are, in character. But as soon as you step behind those walls where
Behind
the
the
public
curtain.
can't go, then you're off stage, you're backstage, and you don't have to be in character any longer. So most of the time, any guest that goes to Disney World or any theme park for that matter, you walk in and you are on stage. And that's why they call them cast members, because it fits in with the
They're in the
theme of
cast.
being in a production. So you're on stage all the time. The cast members have to be in character, right? So this tour is one of the only ones and one of the only times you, as a regular guest, can actually go behind the curtain and see how they make the sausage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just don't look up.
And so, yeah, when we were on stage, they couldn't really tell us anything that any other guest couldn't really find out on their own.
And
And
they
so,
explain that they say basically, when we're out here, I have to answer things a certain way
With
because
pixie dust, she said.
with pixie dust,
because there are little ears.
yes, they're little mouse ears that are listening. But once you get backstage, you can ask me anything. So,
and there are certain questions she even said she wouldn't answer any other way other than the pixie dusted way, which I respected and appreciated, even though we all know the answer to it. It was little things like that that made it special too, because she was like, I'm not going to ruin the magic entirely, and then I was a little bit nervous about that going into this tour, that like, will this ruin Disney World for me knowing the ins and outs? And I feel like they do a good job of balancing, giving you the history and the behind the scenes without really ruining anything for you or giving too much detail. And that's one thing I really appreciated. They gave you just enough detail in history and background, but they didn't give you so much detail that you feel like, oh man, I can never go back to Disney World and enjoy this anymore.
right.
All the details were very fascinating, but not like world ending. How dare you tell me that? That sort of thing. So let's talk about some of those details. So first, we started the tour on Main Street, and she kind of explained to us something that I've never paid attention to, which was the windows on Magic Kingdom. Like, I mean, I knew they were there and I knew they were decor, but I didn't know the detail behind some of the windows.
Significance.
Yeah, and that each window has some sort of significance. And I also know that your Uncle Chris was also the most fascinated by the windows more than anything else on the tour.
That was the biggest takeaway for him.
Yeah.
Also, I would like this time to mention that me, my uncle, and RJ, we were the 3 youngest people in our tour group.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Like, you were probably the 4th youngest.
They do cap the tour groups, I think, at around 20.
Yeah.
So it's a large group, but it's not overwhelming.
I wouldn't say there's a single person under 60 besides.
But there's only one cast member, one tour guide, so they have to keep everybody corralled. So if you had more than that, you'd almost have to have a
Poor
second
Wendy.
person.
If she had a second person, Wendy wouldn't have gotten lost.
We did lose Wendy.
He was on his little scooter and she got caught in some fence of some kind.
Cables or something.
I'm not sure where she found cables to get stuck in.
And at one point, the story, I was like, "Where's Wendy? We lost Wendy.
We lost
so
Wendy.
She has to get on her phone."
Yeah. Okay, so that's one thing that's really impressive to me, is that our tour guide was responsible for 20 guests, and that can be a little bit overwhelming, especially when you're taking a group. I was impressed with how she handled everything, especially since we had one in ECV, and there were some incidents where she got caught and she got left behind, and we didn't realize it until later. But they do an excellent job of like, it didn't stop the tour necessarily for very long. All she had to do was call somebody. They found her. They brought her back to where we were. It wasn't like
fast.
It was maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't the biggest deal in the world, which I thought was great. So anyway, we start in Main Street, and I'm not going to go over every single detail because we just don't have enough time for it. But one of the coolest details that, to me anyways, and they didn't tell us right on Main Street, they told us more towards Frontierland, and that was that whenever the parades go by, that the windows open up so that the speakers can play the music that you hear passing by, and they do it on an automatic, like they're automatic. So when you see a parade go by, if you look at the windows, you can see them moving up and then whenever they the parade finishes, you can see them moving back down, and I just
Yeah.
thought that was so cool. But
You
then
forget-
beyond that, there was just sorry, go ahead, Brian.
No, actually, there's a whole system tied in with that, and this tour, she didn't really go into a lot of detail about that. But when I did the first
Oh yeah,
tour,
I remember you telling me this.
there's actually a room. It was in the utilidors. I assume it's still there. That's like a parade control center. So they literally can track every float on its route. They know where they're all at, and the computer system is automated so that whenever it gets to certain parts of Frontierland or Main Street or Liberty Square, that those windows open up and the speakers come on and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so we actually saw that room on the first tour, and that's why I said the tour kind of changes. You know, they take you different routes based on who's leading it and what time of the year it is.
Yeah, and so they showed us some things on Main Street, like the details of the different names on the windows. I thought all that was super fascinating going into it. And then some of the forced perspective, which I already knew about the castle, but even some of the side streets.
The Main Street buildings are all,
Yeah, I didn't realize that. And then another thing, maybe you guys can go into greater detail, is that it's wider on the opening, but then it narrows as it gets closer to the castle. Did I understand
actually
that
did not know
properly?
I knew that.
Okay.
That's one of the few, the few facts they brought
And
up.
I'm pretty sure Main Street is on an incline.
It is on
upward
an
to
incline.
the
It
cap-
is on an
like
incline,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just a slight one.
Yeah. Now, not everything about the tour itself was perfect. So when we were on Main Street, one of the things that happened was that the Dapper Dans went by. Yeah. And so Noah, why don't you tell us about that and how they handled that?
Yeah, so we're on what used to be Mid Street.
Center Street.
Center Street. What is it now? East
Center.
Center Street. We're at that little back cove area where no one goes.
Halfway up Main Street.
Yeah, halfway up Main Street.
Right.
And she was talking about the windows and stuff and like their significance. And then the Dapper Dans come by and they're so loud on the trolley.
Yeah.
She had to stop talking. She was just like, they'll leave eventually. And they never did.
And then she said, I bet they're going to sing something. And she named off what they're, because she's heard it so many times.
They're talking about like, I think we should sing something villainous. And she goes, they're going to sing Cruella de Vil.
And they did, sure enough, Cruella de Vil.
And so it was funny too, because like while we were right there, they passed by, and then of course she knew they were gonna pass by again. She's like, "They're faster today," you know. And so
it was cold. They were.
Yeah, they were booking it. All right, so we started on Main Street. They gave us the details of the windows, the different forced perspectives, and all of that. I really don't think this changed my perspective. But then after that, part of the ride experience. I was reading my next title.
We're all on golf carts going around. Wendy.
Part of the tour that I just wasn't aware of is that there was going to be rides on it that we were able to ride.
I didn't know about that either. You never told me that.
I didn't tell you.
And so that was pretty cool. So the first ride we rode was Jungle Cruise, which I was very excited about. That's my favorite ride, and that was actually the only time I got to ride it on this trip. So I at least got to do it that one time, and I was disappointed. I wasn't disappointed. So she had to check with the ride crew to see if they were going to be good for us to ride, get us a boat and everything like that. The skipper started us through the dock, but then once we exited the dock, she kind of took over the mic and did that. Honestly, I wish we would have gotten that skipper for the Jungle Cruise. Like, I wish we could have gone around a second time.
Yeah,
like, because he had me rolling before we even got started.
Yeah. And they had a word at the exit.
Yeah, we got on at the exit, which was cool.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. But it was
lightning lane.
Yeah.
But it was very well organized the way they did it. We weren't waiting long. But it was cold. It was cold, that ride. And just standing there waiting, there was not a lot of sun where we were standing. So it was a cold
experience. Every time we would stop, like the tour guide would say, let me move us over here so we're in the sun. It's so cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was wearing like 3 jackets.
Yeah. Okay, so did you guys have any from Jungle Cruise? Did you have any cool facts that you didn't know or something that you found interesting that you weren't aware of riding the Jungle Cruise? I had one, so that's why I was curious if you guys had any.
Nothing
You might
surprised
steal
me.
mine.
I kind
I
of knew.
did like how they revealed how the ride system works.
I did
'Cause
really
we
like that.
got
I was about to say
to
that.
Schweitzer Falls, and if you've ridden the ride, you automatically go to the right and then loop around and go behind the
Mhm.
backside of water. Well, we get to the falls, and she tells the skipper, "Hey, we're kind of pressed for time. Can you just make a left here, and we'll kind of skip this
Take a
part
left
and
at
go."
Schweitzer Falls.
And so he starts spinning the wheel to the left. Of course, the boat turns to the right. And so then she's like, okay, I guess we have to let him in on our little secret. And then she starts telling about how the ride's actually on a track and the wheel doesn't
Yeah.
do anything. It's just a prop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. The other thing that I really liked that you guys already knew about, but I didn't know about, and Jungle Cruise is one of my favorite rides, and that's the fact that they add in all the dye for the water and everything through Schweitzer Falls. So,
Mhm.
like, that's where they add in the dye for the water, all any chemicals. And then they said as the boats go through the ride, they kind of mix and churn
mix
the
it up.
water up. And so that gives you that green, swampy
Where it
type
looks
feel
more
to the
than 2 feet.
ride.
And what's
Yeah.
the other purpose for the water being dyed, other than to make it
Uh,
swampy?
I don't remember.
It's to hide the magic. Remember?
Yeah, the tracks and stuff.
Like the track, and then like the hippos
Mhm.
Yes.
are actually on a mechanism, right below the water surface that makes them move up and down. They're not full-bodied hippos.
Mhm.
She called them hippopotamus.
Yeah.
Bottomless. That's my name.
And so the only thing about the ride that they said that they do control is the speed of it, but
do.
not the actual
Mhm.
like turning mechanism. So they look like they're turning, but they're not actually. She gave us some history of the ride, which I thought was super fascinating, that it
Mhm.
didn't start out the way it was, but how it got to where the dad jokes were. And so I thought that was super cool. And you got to see kind of the behind the scenes, not only of the operation, but the history of the ride.
Yeah.
I knew that the original Jungle Cruise in Disneyland was very dry. It was like
I didn't know that actually.
it was because it's patterned after the True Life series or what it was called, Adventure series that they had on the Disneyland show.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. I can't remember the name.
But anyhow, it was supposed to be like educational, and guests didn't like it. And then all of a sudden, Walt noticed that there was this one boat that everybody was asking for this skipper. And he's like, what is going on? And so he decided to ride the boat with him and climbed on the back of the boat. Of course, the skipper saw that Walt's on his boat. And so he goes back to the company approved spiel, really dry, and he gets around and he's like, all right, what did you just do? And the guy told him, he said, I did the spiel. And he's like, no, he said, why is it that everyone wants to ride your boat? He's like,
Yeah.
I'm going around again and you're going to give me that version. And he did. And so when Walt saw that and how the crowd responded to it, that's why the Jungle Cruise now has dad
The
jokes.
awful dad jokes that are
that we love so much. But it was cool. So then he didn't just take his script though. He went back and had his creative team develop some dad
Right.
joke type rides. And then some of the other cool things that they showed us about the ride itself is that some of those elephants are backup elephants for some of the main ones, so they can take
They can
some
move
of them and swap them around. And that they even have this whole process of like replacing some of their exterior if it gets damaged, and the whole process behind that. And they even showed us that a little bit more in detail in the back, even how they like score the rubber to make it look more skin like. So I thought that was all really, really. Yeah, so it's just fascinating to get to hear some of the behind the scenes, which again, I don't want to ruin all the magic in
Mhm.
case you decided to go, but giving you little tidbits of it so that way you get it
But by the time you
good
listen to this,
idea.
they could have changed it as well.
Yeah.
You could be
Yeah,
going,
that's true.
the tiki room by the end of this.
Yeah. Okay, the other ride we got to ride right after lunch, I think is what it was.
Yes, right after lunch.
Which let's just talk about it now
It's-
since we're in the ride
It was
section.
interesting. Me and RJ got to ride our favorite rides on this tour.
Yeah, we did. And that was the Haunted Mansion. And so the number one, it was awesome because they took us through the back entrance, so
through
we
the
got to
exit.
see and then but they still took
did
us
you
into the
notice
stretching room.
Did you notice when we walked in the back exit, basically that's the chicken exit. There's a hallway, comes off if somebody gets scared and doesn't want to ride. Did you notice the cast members going in and out of a door on the side?
Yes, I did.
That's the break room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the cast member break room.
But even the
That's
exit,
really cool.
the chicken exit is even super themed.
It's
Like
still
when
themed.
you're walking through,
Yeah.
there's wallpaper,
So
the lighting
wallpaper and the
flickers,
lighting.
and like on one wall they had like a key, like a master key wall, like little. I'm not sure what do you call those, where it's like a whole bunch of keys on like a bulletin board.
Key wall.
Yeah.
Key wall. Keys is the key wall.
Yes.
Keyboard. Keyboard. Anyway.
Yeah, but it was super
That was
cool
a
going
bad
through the
joke.
exit. Because whenever you go through the exit, they brought us in right before the stretching room where
Yeah.
like the portrait is and the
portrait room, yeah.
fireplace. Like we went through the thing that says exit, believe it or not.
But the problem though is they brought in regular guests with us
Mhm.
to join our tour group, so everybody got spread out at that
Yeah.
point. So
Yeah.
and the tour guide warned us. She's like, "Okay, we're going to get separated in here. Just meet back here when we're done, so that way everybody stayed together."
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were the first ones off.
So some of the things that she explained to us that was really cool as well was the differences between Disneyland and Disney World and how they had to accommodate some of those changes when they were building the Disney World park. So one of the things was in the Haunted Mansion. There was one in Pirates that they talked about. And so what were some of the things that you found interesting with those facts in particular? Like the one example I think of is the drop in Pirates because it goes underneath the train
Under the
station.
berm, right.
Yeah. So like they wanted to add Pirates to Disney World, but they didn't have the space for it in Frontier or Adventureland. And so but it was so popular at Disneyland that they wanted to add it to Disney World. But it would run underneath where the train station would run across or the train tracks would run across, and they couldn't really move those. And so what they decided to do was add in a drop into Pirates at Disney World. So that way they could get the ride track to fit underneath there. So that's why we get a drop at Disney World is to kind of go underneath the train. And then it comes back up slowly at the end of the ride.
So you had the same effect in Haunted Mansion at Disneyland
Versus Disney World.
The reason for the stretching room is so you can lower down to walk underneath of the railroad tracks to get outside the perm. Well, at Disney World, they had enough room that they didn't have to do that, but they had already designed it. So they were like, this gag works. We need to do it. So at Disney World, instead of it being an elevator that lowers you, the walls actually stretch up. So it still feels the same. You still get the same experience, but you're just staying level.
I would like to also say that whenever they were building Disney World, they already knew they wanted to build a Haunted Mansion. So why did they make them different?
It had there was a story there about the architecture and how they chose specific architecture based on the part of the country that it was in.
Yeah, because in Disneyland, it's in New Orleans Square.
It is, yeah. It's in New Orleans Square, so they wanted New Orleans theme, where Liberty Square, they wanted it to be more New England themed.
But also, why is like the sequencing different in the ride? You know?
There are some differences.
Like the rooms are in different layers, and I don't know.
I'm not going to get into the whole thing about the Hatbox Ghost being before the seance room.
Yeah,
I'm going to leave.
that
Right here.
I'm quite mad at that actually.
They did, and I don't want to spoil it, but she did tell us that there is one specific part in the ballroom where you can see a little bit of the magic on how they do that illusion. And if you know where to look, you can see something physical.
Well, even knowing where to look, I couldn't see it.
It's
hard. That's well hidden. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was.
I told her where it was.
Yeah, I saw it, and then we wrote it again later that week, and I showed.
I wrote Haunted Mansion 5 times, and I saw that thing 4 times.
Yeah, I tried to see it, but in even knowing where it was at, I couldn't quite.
I still can't see
it.
the Candleman though.
Oh, really? I didn't see him this
time.
entire trip. I saw him the first time 2 years ago we went, or whenever we went in July, but I didn't see him this entire trip. I'm not sure if they took him out or not.
Yeah, the ride facts that they give to, like, who plays the voices
Yeah,
and
there's so much
where they're
information.
at, like, you would think that there's not that much information, but there's so much, and they're giving away some of that with the new, Imagineering show or
Mhm.
whatever, but they're not, we call it Imagineering on YouTube. They'll give
There,
away some of that, but
there's entire books written about the haunted
yeah.
I
and
have one.
Imagineering. It is, yeah, it's incredible the amount of information on that.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the backstage area. So the first backstage area they take us through is right beside Tiana's Bayou, and they take us into this little backstage area.
It's the
What are s-
Frontierland break room.
yes, what are some things that you thought were fascinating about it, or what did you find interesting about the backstage the first time going through the backstage?
Sure. So this was the first part of the tour that was different for me. So when Spencer and I did the tour, we actually accessed backstage between Tiana's and Pecos Bills, where the parades come out.
Okay.
We walked through that route and across the railroad tracks back to that area. This time, like you said, we went through where the entrance to Tiana's is, kind of to the right, and worked our way back through there. Still hitting the same area, but I felt like the second tour that I did was a lot more extensive. We got to walk around a whole lot more of the warehouse area back there. Spent quite a bit of time back there. The thing that I think is kind of neat when you walk back there, uh, before you get to that part of the tour guide explains the pillars of what they expect cast members.
The keys to the kingdom, funny enough.
Yes, is the keys. So, and I can't remember what they all are.
Now,
but
inclusivity,
yeah,
efficiency,
show, safety,
safety.
all these different pillars. And
Normal company
but
stuff.
when you go backstage, and I imagine it's like this on almost all the cast member entrances, there is actually a sign there that reminds you of those pillars, so that when you go on stage and you're instantly reminded, okay, these are
And
the
a
things
no
I have to do.
photography sign too. That's normally at every backstage entrance.
And a mirror.
Yeah, and a mirror.
Yeah, I saw that with the keys around the mirror too.
Yeah,
to
so that way they
remind
can
you.
check their appearance before they walk on stage. Now the area we went through didn't have it because it's not like a parade entrance or anything like that. But she did talk a little bit about the sight lines. So like if you're standing in front of the fire station in town square and you're watching the parade go out or come in, right? They open those gates, you can see backstage, but there's nothing to see but some trees. And then you see the parade floats come around or see them exit around. And if you look on the pavement, you'll see that the pavement is colored in those areas. Well, as long as that pavement has that color, the cast members in the parade know I'm still visible to guests. So they have to stay in character. As soon as they get back off of that pavement color onto regular pavement, they know they're off, and they can immediately just stop what they're doing, and stop performing. So it's kind of neat. So we did get to see that on the first tour because we went through the exit across the train tracks where the parades come out. So I got to see that there, but we didn't see it where we went through.
Well, and it kind of where we went through, it was like a hallway that you turned a corner around a building before you got to anything of significance. But she even explained the sight lines in greater detail, how they had to extend some of the sight lines a little bit when they were doing the remodel for Tiana's. That they had to extend some of those rocks. So like we saw on the top of one of the buildings, like this rock facade, and it only went like this far out the building. It felt like, but
and
it
then
was
just an
because
industrial building below that.
yeah, and it was because they said they had to do that because they realized when they were testing Tiana's that there was a part of the building that was in the sight line, and so they had to correct that. And so
My
I thought
favorite
all the
is we were walking a little bit more backstage, like past the Frontierland break room, and you saw the building for Tiana's, like the show building. And we were walking around it, and it said Splash Pickup 3, like number 3. And it was funny because Tiana's has been around for like a year now, and they just didn't change the sign.
They're not changing those signs.
Yeah. Yeah, and so then in the backstage area, we did a couple of things. So we got to go,
Pond.
We
walked around a pond. There's like a little pond back there.
Now,
one of the things they explained to us, because we were now not on stage, we were offstage. Is that what they called it?
Yeah,
Backstage.
backstage.
So backstage, once we got backstage, they were able to explain some things that they weren't able to explain while we were on Main Street, of course. And one of those things that I found super fascinating, and this is not going to sound fascinating to most, but the trash system at Disney World was stinking awesome. Like,
Yeah, they have a whole
who-
system. It's incredible.
Did you mean say
Yes.
in Austin when you were talking about trash?
I didn't mean
Margin.
that. That was perfect.
He cracks himself up.
But yeah, so they originally found a system where it would suck the trash bags out, but they didn't want to do that entirely. But they did want a station where they could pull the trash out simply and make sure that the smell didn't get around the parks. I think that's so fascinating that Disney thinks about every single detail. And you don't necessarily think about that until you go to like Six Flags or something and you realize how smelly those parks are because there's constant trash everywhere. How you never smell that at Disney World, and it's
like-
because of their intricate trash system and how they manage that.
Because she said that the janitorial staff will pick up trash from trash cans and then go to the one of the 19 or 29 spots throughout the park.
I can't even remember.
Remember how many?
It was one of those two, 29 or 19
Yeah.
spots where they can deposit it into like a vacuum system. And the trash gets hurled around Magic Kingdom at 35 miles an hour to the drop-off point, and then that gets
Oh.
put into a dumpster and, does what
Yeah,
trash
we even got to see the cardboard compactor.
Woo!
Woo!
We also got to see the canal, like after the parade float area, where like the canal where they have the
That was really cool.
that was really
for me.
cool. The electrical water pageant floats
Yeah.
where they dock
Yeah.
those, and they actually had the Tom Sawyer Island boats.
Did you
stored back
notice
there.
those? The rafts for Tom Sawyer were still back.
Yeah, they did. And then they had a Tiana's Bayou
There were some logs.
ride
Mhm.
log.
Whole logs.
There were
Yeah, whole
Yeah.
logs.
The whole log was there.
They had
Mhm.
my
We've had one of those.
I listened to the podcast.
Yes. Another thing
They
that
actually probably put it when we were in back
Probably.
there.
We retired it.
It was probably
It was
sinking.
that was the Pirates one.
I retired that too.
Yeah. All the components for the rides and all that they have sitting back there, and
Mhm.
like
Just
like
random stuff.
cages.
Mhm.
Yeah, computer
Spare
components
wheels
and-
for the logs
Mhm.
and just all
yeah,
any part you could think
It's-
of you'd need.
yeah.
Benches.
Okay, so
Mhm.
so they explained to us how they're housing all these floats and everything like that, and then we turn a corner, and there we see the actual floats from like different parades, even like Christmas parades
Go to
and
you.
the Boo to You and the
And the
Dragon,
Dragon.
Maleficent.
Dragon. That was
from
really
the-
cool to
They
see
were
up
actually
close.
working
Yeah.
on Maleficent.
Yeah, they were working
as
on
we
it.
walked past. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the cool facts that they tell you about those floats is that before they take them out, the attention to detail that they have on those things is just incredible. That they check every light bulb on them to make sure that they're all functioning before they send them out. Like that to me is just absolutely insane. Like imagine some of those new Starlight parades having to check every single light
I
bulb
wish
on
we
that
could have
thing.
seen some of those backstage.
Yeah.
I bet you
Yeah.
they keep them in like the store
They're on the
housing.
interior. Yeah.
Yeah,
The part we
air
could see
conditioned.
was like just a canopy open area.
Yeah.
Keep the floats in.
Yeah,
it was
but then
understood
even
that.
some of the details that she gave us too that I found super fascinating were like how long it takes to be the operator of some of those floats too.
And there's
Um,
different tiers.
Mhm.
So there's
Yeah,
tier
One,
tier
two, and
2,
three.
and tier 3.
Yeah.
Floats. The higher the tier, the more complicated, and you have to be trained more to.
Didn't she
operate.
say like just for the most basic tier you have to train for a year?
It's something like that.
Yeah. For
yeah.
an entire
So-
year.
Or
like, with
maybe
that
you have
float.
to be on a tier 1 for a year before you
Yeah,
can move up to
that
tier
might
2.
be what it is.
Yeah. And so it was super fascinating, some of the information that she gave us about the parade floats while we see it and the logistics of how they run the parades, everything like that.
Such
I
an
don't
operation. You never think of how big of an operation a parade is.
I think about it.
Well, I thought about it, but I didn't realize how big it is, you know?
All right, let's talk about lunch. I'm going to change the order of things a little bit, but let's talk
Yeah,
about our
thank you.
lunch and then let's talk about utilidors. So we had lunch at Columbia Harbor House, and I wish that every lunch at Disney was this cool as
It
what
was
we
so
had.
fancy.
Yeah, so we had ordered a lunch ahead of time. So when we get into the lunch break, this is also the lunch break for the tour guide, which I appreciated. She wasn't with us. She didn't answer questions. Like that was
And
really
they sat
cool.
us all together, which was so cool.
Yeah.
All 4 of us.
So yeah, they sat all 4 of us at the same table. So what we mean by that is they had little like places where we would all sit, where they placed our lunch order on a plate, and they had all of our drinks and everything. Yeah, and it was like wrapped silverware, everything like that.
Actual napkins.
Yeah. And
all
so we
good.
were able,
Yeah, we had our own little section.
yeah, for all the tours, it looked like they had their own little section in Columbia Harbor House. And we got in just as it opened, but like we had our own section. And I never felt like I saw any of the guests or anything from the Columbia
No, we're too
Harbor
fancy.
House restaurant. I think that every lunch should be like that.
I
And
wish.
so I
Do
thought,
you think they have a special
It
just
can
section?
be if you have enough money.
That's true.
yeah.
Just show up
Just go
for
to
the
Club
lunch, put in
53.
your order, and then walk away and just meet at the lunch.
After that, so we put our headsets away, we did all that, and then after that we did the haunted mansion, and then we got to go into our favorite part of the tour. Well, I say our favorite, there was lots of favorite parts of the
There
tour,
was a lot of cool parts.
but the
bathroom?
utilidors,
Yeah,
yeah, the bathroom.
We went to the bathroom.
We did go to the bathroom
Yeah, we
here
did.
before we
Next to Pinocchio's.
I wasn't sure where you were going.
Yeah, our favorite part of the tour, the bathroom. Although we did all go to the
Pinocchio
bathroom.
And they were in German. I didn't know which one to go to. So if you're going to Pinocchio's Village House bathrooms, make sure you're up on your German because
Yeah.
Okay.
in there.
Another cool thing that she said in Columbia Harbor House, the bathroom isn't technically in the map of Frontierland because there were
Liberty
no
Square.
working
Liberty Square.
bathrooms, or Liberty Square. So there
Because
were
they
no
had to go
working
plumbing.
bathrooms, so that they have it just outside of the map of Liberty Square. So that way it's not technically in there, even though it's in Columbia Harbor House. It's technically in a different land. Like, who cares about where the bathrooms are at?
I think that's just how it worked out. It was a convenient
I'm just trying to think.
story.
I think it is true that it's not in the realms of
Yeah.
Frontierland, but I don't think they
part's
planned
true.
that.
I don't think they
I
planned it.
don't think they planned it. It's just
I also don't believe that the line markings in Liberty Square in the middle of the street are not sewage.
they have to.
Yeah, I think they are.
I will swear that that's the case.
I think that's even the tour guide said that. She's like, Imagineer said that it wasn't that.
That's the
But-
line, but that's what it was.
Yeah.
All right. So then we got to go into the utilidors, which do either of you want to explain what utilidors even means?
The tunnels.
So when they built Walt Disney World, they were building in a swamp. So you can't get a good solid foundation in
He knows
swampland.
about this stuff.
So they had to build up the land in order to build on it. So when you cross the lagoon from the ticket and transportation center, transform.
I'll marinate in that one.
Lagoon is it's actually man-made. So they excavated all that between the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian, and the Contemporary, and put that on the Magic Kingdom to build it up high enough so they could build on it. So when you're walking down Main Street, USA, to the castle, you're actually walking on the second floor. So since they had to build it up, they decided very early on in the design process that they would build some underground corridors for logistics and for cast members to be able to go to and from their shifts and that kind of thing.
Because Walt didn't like seeing different cast members walking to break rooms. Like he doesn't want to see a Frontierland cast member in Tomorrowland. That just breaks the story.
There actually was, that was a story where Walt was in Tomorrowland and saw a Frontierland cowboy walking from his shift, and it just totally broke, the
immersion
of that.
Before Han Solo. No, just kidding.
So they built these underground tunnels. So they're just precast concrete tunnels. If you Google Walt Disney World utilidors, you'll see pictures of it. You'll know what we're talking about. But they're pretty large. You could drive a vehicle through them easy.
Yeah, they have the Pargos.
Yeah.
They have electric golf carts, golf carts that management drives around there. It's really cool.
So anyhow, so that's how, that's where we were talking. RJ was talking about the trash and how they get all of that out of the park without you seeing it. Is it all goes in these underground tunnels? All of the electrical systems, all of the merchandise that
Internet.
goes to the shops, the cast
There's
members.
so much just
going to and
open
from.
merchandise.
It was just a microcosm of just everything you could think of that you would need to make this place operate.
Yeah, like one time
through these tunnels.
they stopped us to talk about some like poster or something, and me and people were walking, and we looked to our left, and there's just like 6-foot lines of copper, like fitted copper sheets, just laying on the ground. We're like, that's like $2,000 worth of copper right there.
Yeah. Well, the first tour I took, there was actually boxes of merchandise that was going up to the Emporium. So it was like $6,000 worth of Mickey ears sitting out there. I was like, so when we did the tour together, they took us in through Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
So the gift shop to Winnie the Pooh, we went in that way. When Spencer and I did it, we actually went in on the other side of Fantasyland Plaza there. Can't remember which. Oh, it was I believe it was the shop where not Fantastic. PhilharMagic. I think it was there that we went in. So that's why I'm saying they kind of change it around. But one of the things that I thought was really funny, and I had to like block Noah so he wouldn't mess things up, was as soon as you walk through the door, immediately you're backstage, and there's electrical boxes and panels and wiring and everything you could think of, and there's literally electrical panels like there with great big breaker switches on them, and one of them very clearly said Winnie the Pooh ride system. And it was like on and off, and I'm like,
it wasn't
no, don't do it.
There wasn't.
There was nothing. Anybody walk past could just pull that down and shut the ride down. So,
Wouldn't that have been so funny?
I've never been more proud of Noah than
that
we
would
walked
have been
past
so funny though.
switch.
Is actually the ride just stopped.
Oh my!
I'm giving a lot of people free vax.
Yeah, you would have been banned for life.
Yeah, for sure. So in the utilidors, it's basically like one big warehouse / logistical systems / cast member break room / everything, trash room, everything. We got to see a lot of cool things down in the utilidors, and this is where
we did, yeah.
This is where I wish I could take every kind of picture imaginable back there. It was like one of those moments where I wish I had meta glasses or something and I could just take pictures. So what are some of the cool things that you guys saw while you were down there that you thought like, that's stinking awesome? For me, it was the pins. They had all the cast lanyard pins from like the start of the pin trading until present day, I think. And it was just like,
we saw a lot of the parade performers, and they were obviously they weren't in costume, and they were just sitting there waiting for their next shift to go on to do the next parade. And we saw a guy, and I was like, that's got to be Bruno.
Because we saw a cavalcade before we went into the utility.
And it was that guy.
Yeah, and Bruno was dancing, and our tour guide was like, Bruno's dancing more than normal. He must be cold.
So what we found out a lot of cool things about the costumes and everything. And again, I won't spoil that one on here, but one of the things I appreciated is that they clean everything very well. That's the most I'll say about it. If you have more questions,
wondered about that.
Those
costumes,
so there was a couple things that were behind the scenes that when I found out, I definitely appreciated that information because it helped me. But there were a lot of cool things, like you got to see cast members with their pre-costumes, I guess, if you will, with like their gray shirts and stuff before they got ready to go. So and they all had barcodes on them for different things that they were gonna.
It was really cool. Also seeing the elevator for Cinderella's castle, because there's just one elevator that goes to the suite, goes to Cinderella's royal table, and goes to the utilidors, and that's the only 3 places it goes. It was really
Yeah.
interesting seeing that.
And it looked like the worst, shakiest elevator you would ever
Yeah, it
see.
was like I think they were fixing it while we
Yeah,
were
they were
down there.
actually contractors that
Yeah.
were looking at it.
Uh-huh.
So you must be doing
It's so funny how Disney does everything with excellence except the backstage.
Oh,
They
It's
don't spend
just
any
like
money for that.
it's very
yeah,
industrial. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. It feels very
Fairy
much so,
godmother
but
came by.
We did see Fairy Godmother. She was actually in character, which
She was.
surprised me.
yeah,
Yeah.
She like
yeah.
did the whole bibbity boppity with her wand to us kind of thing.
Rapunzel
Yeah.
was not in character
But
though.
yeah, no, I distinctly one time remember seeing Cinderella with Beats headphones on.
And that's where we talked about Rapunzel with the Owala.
Yeah. Rapunzel
She
had
had the
a
Rapunzel
Owala.
Jesselyn will
And
never
Jesselyn
let
will
you
never
never let me forget it. And I had to admit it to her. I was like, you've got to be kidding me that Rapunzel has an Owala and she's walking in the back drinking her own Rapunzel
Make me want to
Owala.
get Stormtrooper or Darth Vader Owala now.
Oh
So
my
she's infected.
lord. Well, okay. Anybody says Disney merch and Noah's gonna be affected
Hey,
by it in
It is
some
Star
way.
Wars and Disney merch.
It's
How bad did you
hardly-
want to go into that storeroom for the Emporium merch?
So
Oh,
Dude,
that would have been
it was really cool because we were
epic.
walking and she's like, and we are now under the Emporium, and we're like, what?
Yeah.
And cast members would go through the door, and you could literally peek in and see just like floor to ceiling shelving with just boxes and boxes and boxes of merch.
So like,
Yeah, so when they say,
Utilidors-
let me go look for that for you, they're going
Yeah.
down there to
Yeah.
see if they have
so like
any.
a map of the utilidors would basically be under Cinderella's castle. There's like 5 different ways you can go from there, and we only went
Yeah.
one of those ways. And then there's one line that goes straight under Main Street,
Mhm.
and then there's like a box where it
A
goes
circle,
down to
yeah.
like a circle box thing
Yeah.
that goes around the bottom of Main Street. You know, like the entrance
Oh
area.
yeah, in Town Square.
Yeah, in Town Square. So it hits the
But
Town
then,
Square.
but then there's a circle that goes around and hits Frontierland
uh-huh.
and Adventureland
Yeah,
and
and
Tomorrowland.
Yeah, so it goes
And,
everywhere.
And it's real easy to get lost down there. And she talked about
Yeah.
how her first time down there. I think she said her husband had worked
Mhm.
there and been
Yeah.
there and just told her, yeah, it's no problem, just follow the signs.
And gave her a map to follow.
Yeah, gave her a map. And it was just totally worthless, she said. But they actually do have painted on the walls different colors and different schemes. Like when you're going down a stairwell, you'll see, like when we went down to the Winnie the Pooh
Mhm.
stairwell, they had like honeycombs and stuff painted on the walls so that
It was
you
black
knew,
and white, or black and yellow.
yeah, and you knew which part of the park you were in. And even once
Yeah.
you're down there, there'll be painted on the wall as Fantasyland and have an arrow pointing one way or whatever. So you
And
can
they
find your
painted the
route.
walls different colors depending on which
Right.
part of the park you're in. It wasn't like Tomorrowland was like purple,
Right.
Frontierland was like red. Like there's different colors telling you you're in this area.
Did you know?
Totally wrong on the colors, but yes.
Did you know going in, RJ, about how the cast members get to the Magic Kingdom and enter?
No, I didn't. I thought that was super fascinating too, with the busing in, and
Mhm.
they bus them into the utilidors directly.
Yeah.
They don't.
Their parking
bus
lot's
them
like
in.
a half mile away.
Yeah.
And then they get on a bus, and it brings them to the back. It's actually the backside of Pinocchio's village house,
Mhm.
and under It's Small World.
It's really cool because it's
So-
like this bright light coming in.
Yeah, you can
And
see
you just
out
see
of the tunnel.
buses like
Yeah.
going in and out like it was a normal bus station at
Right.
Disney World. But
Yeah.
it's for cast only.
I think the other thing that I found super cool without, I'm trying so hard, like utilidors is one of those spoilers that you just like, it's hard not to spoil it.
Right.
But I love the like clock in, clock out system where they have the
Mhm.
TVs above that are like, almost felt like the resort TV information, but it's
Cast
called
Life TVs.
Cast TV or Cast something.
Mhm.
And it's like their version of announcements all over. So there's
Like
TVs
reminding you what's
everywhere.
coming up.
Yes, talking
Events.
about different
Mhm.
announcements
Like
and
Cast
events.
TVRs
and
just
things.
started. Make sure.
Well, and in fact, yeah, they were having that cast member anniversary appreciation thing at the Magic Kingdom
That
this
night.
week. Yeah, that night. So
Yeah.
that was a big deal.
Yeah, and so I think that that's cool that that's how they disseminate information to the cast members as they're going through the utilidors. I wonder how they do it in all the other parks. Now we need to go on tours for
Epcot
everyone.
has some utilidors.
They have a really small.
It's really
one.
small though.
It's
Yeah.
It's kind of over where Guardians is on that side.
Okay.
But it's not.
Hollywood
it's
Studios
not
has
narrow.
none.
No, Studios and Animal Kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
which is a half day park. They don't have anything.
Overall, we were trying not to give too many spoilers in case you decide to go, but give you just enough so that you'll be able to
And we didn't even
experience
say half the
what
amount of
keys.
information they get.
No,
Tons.
not even
Tons, yeah.
close. There's
5
no
hours.
way we could
Mhm.
cover it.
She
Yeah.
doesn't stop talking.
No.
Except for the 30 minutes for lunch.
Yeah.
If we're
Yeah.
walking somewhere, she's telling us something about it. If we stop
Yeah.
somewhere, we're talking for 30 minutes. Like, and
Yeah.
she's very open to
But-
questions too. Like, it wasn't
Yeah.
kind of like, I'm telling you things and you can't say anything back to me. It was kind of like, what do you think?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 100%. What were your overall impressions like? Do you think people should do this? I know that's an easy question to answer.
If
For
you're
me,
a
it's
big Disney
absolute.
fan and love how like the logistics work, yes, I think so.
I think if you are concerned that it's going to ruin the magic for you, then you probably need to think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's once you peel that curtain back, you
You
can't
can't.
unsee it, right?
Can't unsee it.
So that's something to be considerate of. The other thing I would say is the fact that you have to have a park ticket and you have to pay
Mhm.
this extra ticket on top of that. So if it's your first day and you're paying $200 for that ticket, and you're paying
Mhm.
another $190 for that, you're paying almost $400
Just for
this, and you're on this tour for 5 hours. So that's 5 hours you're not in the park. So
Yeah.
I would recommend, if you're going to be there for an extended stay, at least like 5 days, something like that, where you've got time to hit all the parks and do the things you want to do, and you can tack this onto it, then it makes a little more sense. I would not do this if you were going for a 3-day weekend.
Right. No, I agree. Unless
the
that was
3
your
weekends
whole
out.
intent of going. Yeah.
If that was the whole purpose and you were okay with it, then great.
Mhm.
But if you're just trying to squeeze it into a weekend trip, you're probably going to regret it.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. I would say too that I don't think it ruined the magic for me, but I'm always fascinated by that stuff, and
It was very
but
interesting.
I understand why they put the age restriction on it, because it would
Mhm.
ruin it for kids.
Sure.
And so I appreciated that for sure, even though that made it difficult for our party because some of our party wasn't able to go. They'll be talking about it probably not next week, but the week after, about their experience.
There's really only one person that was like unhappy about the both decisions of what was happening, and that was Ethan.
Yeah.
You couldn't go on the tour, but you also had to go to the other thing. Ippity boppity.
Yeah, but I think that it was worth the price for me, but I'm also doing a Disney podcast,
It's
so that
absolutely
tells you
worth
how
the
much
price
of
for
a
me.
Disney. Yeah.
So it was a little bit of a diminished value for me because I'd already done it. So
Yeah.
doing it a second time, I did get some things out of it. But if I were going by myself, I probably would have been like, I don't know if that was really worth it or not.
Mhm.
But it was worth it to me to take Noah on it and see you guys and get to experience it with you for the first time.
Yeah, like someday I would love to take Bella and
Mhm.
to take Jesselyn with me.
Justin
But,
would love it. Yeah.
Yeah, Justin
Yeah.
would find it interesting.
Yeah.
but that would be like, something we do later on down the road, especially when Bella's a little bit older. She still
But
likes
if you're
Disney.
interested at all in how things work and the behind the scenes operations, there is no better way other than having a cast member friend that just drives you around.
Mhm.
This would be the best option to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much, Brian, for coming back and joining us and talking about it. And
It was his pleasure.
Nope.
I think
Hey, this is my second time, so I'm like tied with Carissa, I think.
I think so.
Oh yeah, well we don't count him.
And Spencer, yeah, Spencer had to fill in, and
So one more time, and I get to be the lead guest.
Well, does it count that Cindy's gonna be on it a second time too?
Well, she's not caught up with me yet,
It's about 1 week.
and I might join in on the bibbity boppity one just so I can.
I won't even be on that episode. I'll just have to edit it
I'll stick
after.
my head in and be like, hey.
You'll be like 3. And leave. 3. Peace
All of
out.
you I'll be so
I'm
confused.
so gonna do that.
It was like when I logged in on you and Spencer's episode, RJ.
Yeah.
Yes, that was awesome while you were at the beach.
I was at the beach. And I was live at the beach too. Remember?
Yep.
I wasn't in the middle of the night. and
Totally
nor was I-
live. Oh no, but I appreciate you coming on
it was
and
my
giving
pleasure.
your knowledge. At least we had good fun facts this week.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely
fact, that hurt
think
my
do the tour.
As long as it was a fun.
It was great. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out and listening with us again this week. And now we are not going to switch to the same pre-recorded message we played last week.
Now it's time for you to pay the price because I didn't pay for this.
Paid the price.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our show. Before you go, please don't forget to gather your belongings and head over to our email at carouselpod@gmail.com to ask us your questions. Oh, and wouldn't you believe it? You can now bring the magical sense of vacation right into your home. Check out the Magic Candle Company and use our exclusive link with the code CarouselPod at checkout to get 15% off your order. And don't forget, we're here to help you plan your future Disney trips. Just send us a message at rj@famvia.com. Until next time, we'll see you in a great, big, beautiful week.